They pulled away, slowly, quietly, maybe without a word, and there you were, checking your phone, replaying the conversations, wondering what you did wrong, and worse, wondering how to get them back. But what if I told you this isn't about getting them back? What if this moment, this painful, confusing silence, is actually your invitation to rise? Marcus Aurelius once said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And right now, you're estimating your worth through their absence. That ends today." Because in this podcast, we're going deep, not into revenge, not into begging, but into power. The quiet, unshakable, almost invisible kind. The kind that doesn't scream or explain, it simply disappears, rebuilds, and returns stronger than before. These 7 moves aren't for the weak-hearted. They are for the version of you who is tired of overgiving, overthinking, overchasing. They are for the you who is ready to stop reacting and start becoming. So take a breath, put the phone down. The healing begins here. Let's begin with Chapter 1. Chapter 1. Bury the desperation. There's a moment in every heartbreak that hits harder than the rest. It's not when they leave. It's not when you see them moving on. It's that quiet, brutal moment when you realize you're still hoping they come back. That you're checking your phone, not for messages, but for signs. That every silence feels louder because somewhere inside, you're still begging, silently, maybe even subconsciously. But here's the truth you need to hear. Desperation is never attractive. It's always a repellent. And even more than that, it betrays your power. Because when someone senses you need them more than you need your dignity, the dynamic has already collapsed. Seneca said, "It is a rough road that leads to the heights of greatness." And this right here is that rough road. The one where you bury your need to be wanted. Where you no longer ask, "Do they still care?" but instead whisper to yourself, "Do I?" So your first Stoic move is simple but savage. Bury the desperation. Not mask it, not deny it. Bury it. Deep beneath your silence. Not for them, but for you. You don't text first. You don't reply immediately. You don't stalk their stories. You don't make yourself visible in their world. You let them feel your absence like a weight, like oxygen they didn't realize they needed until you stopped supplying it. Because the moment you remove your energy from someone who took it for granted, they feel it in ways they can't explain. They may not message you, they may not say it, but they will feel the imbalance shift. The silent withdrawal of your attention is far louder than any words you could ever say. Here's the shift. You don't move from hurt to healed overnight, but you move from begging to becoming the moment you decide that your energy will no longer be spent trying to convince someone of your worth. And yes, this will feel unnatural, like you're giving up. But that's not what's happening. You're not giving up. You're giving space. You're pulling back into yourself, into your power, into the version of you that is no longer waiting to be chosen, because you already chose yourself. From this moment on, every impulse to reach out, to check in, to ask for closure, bury it. Don't kill it. Don't deny it. Just dig a grave deep inside your resolve and lay it down with love. It served you once, but now it must stay buried. So say it with me, quietly but clearly. I am not desperate. I am dangerous in my silence. Chapter 2. Disappear. Into silence. When someone pulls away from you, the first thing you want to do is reach. Say something. Prove something. Fill the silence. But that's exactly what they expect. They expect your reaction, your response, your proof that they still have access to your emotions. What they don't expect is your silence. What they don't know how to handle is your disappearance. The most haunting presence is the one that is no longer present. You don't need to slam the door. You don't need a dramatic exit. You don't even need to block them. What you need is to fade, cleanly, completely, and calmly. You need to vanish from their notifications, from their routine, from the space where your energy used to live. Because nothing unsettles a person more than the unexpected absence of something they assumed would always be there. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." Don't waste time explaining your worth. Don't try to prove you deserved better. Become better, quietly. Let them notice the space you no longer fill, and let it echo. You're not disappearing to play games. You're disappearing to reclaim your peace. You're stepping back from the emotional noise so you can hear yourself again. Because that's what silence does. It brings you back to your own voice after you've been shouting into someone else's void. Here's the paradox. The more they expected you to chase, the more powerful your absence becomes. You become the question they can't answer, the notification that never comes, the thought that keeps circling back when everything else is quiet. And this part matters. Your silence only works if it's real. Not forced, not faked. Real silence is born from detachment, not manipulation. That means you stop checking their page, you stop watching their stories, you stop watching their reactions, you shift your focus inward, and the silence becomes real because you're no longer trying to be heard by them. You're finally listening to you. The truth is, they won't forget you because you disappeared. They'll remember you because of how you disappeared. Not with anger, not with bitterness, but with grace, with self-respect, with a calm so deep it haunts them long after the noise fades. So let them talk to the void. Let them scroll through your absence. Let them feel the slow chill of your silence every time they realize you're not coming back to explain anything. Say it with me. I disappear not to punish, but to protect my peace. And that is when the shift begins. Chapter 3. Forge the inner weapon. Let's be honest. Right now, they might not feel your silence. Not yet. Maybe they're distracted. Maybe they're arrogant. Maybe they think your quiet is weakness. That's fine, because this isn't about proving anything to them. This chapter is about you. This is where you stop watching them and start forging the weapon that will protect you from ever needing their validation again. There's a saying often misattributed to Epictetus, but it carries Stoic truth nonetheless. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. In other words, when everything falls apart, when people ghost you, ignore you, leave you hanging, you don't rise by emotion, you rise by preparation, and preparation happens in silence. So right now, in this void they left behind, you have a choice. You can sit in it, wallow in it, obsess over it, or you can start using it. You can pick up the pieces of your attention, your energy, your time, and build something. Go to the gym, not because you want to post about it, but because discipline clears your mind. Read not to impress anyone, but to armor your thoughts. Meditate not to be spiritual, but to quiet the noise they left behind. Learn a new skill, not to get ahead of them, but because mastering something reminds you who's in charge of your future. You see, emotional wounds crave distraction, but healing requires construction. You don't patch over pain with entertainment. You face it by becoming someone so solid, so centered, that not even rejection can crack your core. This is not about pretending to be okay. This is about choosing to become okay, through action, through intention, through fire. Because while they're wondering where you went, you're in the lab, rebuilding, reinventing, refining. That's what makes Stoicism dangerous to those who once held power over you. It doesn't teach you to suppress, it teaches you to transmute. Every slight becomes fuel. Every silence becomes space. Every loss becomes leverage. And when you do this, when you truly focus inward, when you spend less time looking at them and more time sharpening yourself, they will notice. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next week, but one day when your energy returns, And it will. It will feel different, colder, calmer, unreachable. Because you'll no longer be the version of you who craved answers. You'll be the version who created strength from absence. Say it with me. I am no longer waiting to be chosen. I am choosing who gets access. And that choice, my friend, is your inner weapon. Chapter 4. Summon the power of mystery. Certainty is comfort. Predictability is safety. That's why they stopped respecting you. They knew exactly how you'd react. They counted on your availability, your emotion, your need to be seen. But when you pulled away, when you stopped playing the role, they didn't just lose access. They lost understanding. And that, my friend, is what keeps people up at night. Not losing you, but losing the version of you they could read. You don't need to chase. You don't even need to respond. You need to become unpredictable, quietly, strategically, with full awareness that nothing disrupts the ego more than confusion. Seneca once said, "To be everywhere is to be nowhere." That includes emotionally. If you're constantly showing your hand, constantly explaining how you feel, constantly updating your status, they don't have to wonder. But the moment you retreat into mystery, when your next move isn't obvious, when your silence becomes intentional, that's when you become unforgettable. People remember what they can't figure out. We chase puzzles more than prizes. We remember the silence that made us question more than the noise that gave us answers. So ask yourself this: what version of you are they used to seeing? The one who explains everything, justifies every mood, responds within minutes? Break that version. Let them feel the cognitive dissonance of not knowing what's going on with you, of not knowing if you're still hurt or completely indifferent, if you're healing or leveling up beyond their reach. Mystery isn't about being fake. It's about being less accessible, less obvious. It's about no longer living to be understood and starting to live to be at peace. You don't need to delete your presence. You just need to become undecipherable. Post less, reveal less. Let your energy feel clean but distant, controlled but unreadable. And when they try to read you like they always did, make sure the pages have changed. Because when they feel that shift, when they no longer know how you think, what you feel, or where you're heading, that's when they start looking for signs. That's when they scroll longer, think harder, miss deeper. Not because of what you said, but because of what you stopped saying. So from this point on, become your own mystery. You don't need to block them. Let them watch. Let them wonder. Let them feel the chill of your evolution in silence. Say it with me. They knew who I was. They have no idea who I'm becoming. And that is exactly how you keep them haunted. Chapter 5. Embrace emotional armor. If they can still trigger you, they still control you. That's the truth no one wants to hear. Because as much as we talk about letting go and moving on, we're still checking their page, still reacting to their silence, still letting their choices dictate our mood. That's not power. That's possession. And the only way to break free is to build your emotional armor. Emotional armor doesn't mean you stop feeling. It means you stop bleeding for people who never brought you a bandage. It means your reactions are no longer automatic. Your peace is no longer negotiable, and your worth is no longer available for discount. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Your thoughts are your domain. Your reactions are your weapon, or your weakness. You get to choose which they become." So here's the Stoic move. The next time they ignore you, disappoint you, bait you, pause. Not because you're suppressing emotion, but because you're mastering it. You don't hit send, you don't vent, you don't spiral. You observe, you breathe, and then you decide. Not from pain, from principle. That's emotional armor. It's the ability to sit with discomfort and not let it define you. It's not being cold, it's being calibrated. Calm doesn't mean passive. It means you're done giving people a remote control to your nervous system. The moment you stop giving emotional feedback, you become unreadable. And unreadable is untouchable. They can't toy with what they can't affect. They can't win a game you're no longer playing, and that frustrates them. Not because you're being cruel, but because you've stopped being available for their chaos. When you embrace emotional armor, you'll feel lonely at first, because your old self, the one who over-explained, over-texted, overreacted, was noisy. This new self, still, silent, discerning, and not everyone will know what to do with that version of you. Let them be confused. Let them say you changed, because you did. You stopped letting external noise dictate your inner peace. You stopped being a mirror and became a wall, solid, immovable, and above all, say it with me. I respond from principle, not pain. My silence is not submission, it is strategy. I don't react, I rise. Chapter 6. Flip the script without words. You don't need to post a speech. You don't need to make them understand. You don't even need to say, I'm done. The most powerful shift happens when you change your behavior and say nothing about it. Because when you stop acting like the old you, they start questioning everything they thought they knew. Here's the truth. Most people don't actually want to lose you. They want to keep access to you on their terms. So they get comfortable with your patterns, they predict your forgiveness, they expect your attention. But the moment you flip the script, when your energy no longer follows the path they laid out, that's when the story changes. There's a famous Stoic line by Epictetus: don't explain your philosophy, embody it. In other words, don't tell them what's changed, show them, silently, consistently, unshakably. They message you, you don't reply. They watch your story, you don't flinch. They send a subtle bait, you don't bite. Not because you're angry, but because you're done playing the part they cast you in. You're not reacting, you're rewriting. Quietly. You don't chase, you don't correct, you don't prove. You remove, you evolve, you ascend. That's what flips the script. When they expect chaos and get calm. When they expect emotion and get indifference. When they expect desperation and find distance. And suddenly, they don't know how to place you anymore. Are you still in love? Are you over them? Do you still care? Or have you completely disappeared from the emotional battlefield? Let them guess, let them project, let them sit in the discomfort of not knowing. Because the power of flipping the script isn't in revenge, it's in reversal. You're no longer the one waiting. You're no longer the one overgiving. You're no longer the one seeking validation from someone who confused attention with affection. You're moving different now, cleaner, quieter, more intentional, and trust me, they notice. They might not say it, but they feel it, and that feeling, that confusion wrapped in nostalgia, wrapped in regret, is the very thing they never saw coming. Say it with me. I no longer play the role they wrote for me. I flipped the script by living a new story. My silence is the plot twist they can't explain. Chapter 7. Let them chase shadows. By now, they've started to notice. The silence isn't just silence anymore. It's presence. The distance isn't just absence. It's a boundary. The version of you they thought would always wait is no longer there. And now, without warning, you've become a shadow they can't outrun. They'll scroll your page longer than they admit. They'll watch your stories without reacting. They'll mention you in passing like it's nothing while wondering everything. But here's what they don't realize. The person they're missing no longer exists. That version of you, the one who overthought, overgave, overstayed, died the day you chose self-respect over access. And what remains now? A silhouette, a whisper, a mystery wrapped in grace. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injustice." You don't become bitter, you don't seek payback, You rise so far beyond them that they can no longer reach you, even if they tried. You stop being real to them. You become memory. A question. A ghost of what they could have had if only they had seen it when it was right in front of them. Let them chase shadows. Let them search for signs. Let them replay every moment and wonder where they went wrong. Because the truth is, they didn't lose you when they ignored your message, or forgot your birthday, or made you feel small. They lost you the moment they made you feel like an option, and you finally believed them. So you left, not with rage, not with a door slam, but with quiet finality. And now, their access is gone. Not blocked, just obsolete. They can see you, but they can't reach you. And that's worse than any goodbye, because they'll chase you, not the real you, but the ghost of who you used to be. And that chase, it never ends. Say it with me. I no longer exist where I was once taken for granted. They're not chasing me. They're chasing a shadow. I've become someone they can't replace because I've become someone they never truly knew. If you made it here, know this. Your silence is not weakness. Your distance is not spite. Your peace is not passive. It is power. Pure, intentional, and earned. You didn't need closure. You needed clarity. You didn't need them to understand. You needed you to understand. That your worth doesn't fluctuate based on someone's inability to see it. That walking away without noise isn't avoidance, it's elevation. You chose the Stoic path, not because it's easy, but because it's honest. And in doing so, you reclaimed everything they took for granted: your time, your voice, your value. So thank you for being here, for holding the line, for becoming someone who no longer waits to be saved. You've stopped chasing, you've stopped explaining, and now you've become the version of you who doesn't just walk away, you disappear into legacy. If this message spoke to you, share it. Not to prove a point, but to plant a seed. Someone out there needs your silence more than your explanation. And if you're ready to continue this journey, subscribe, follow, and walk with us. This is just the beginning. Stay silent, stay grounded, stay powerful. They'll feel it.